Hello and welcome to Interviews at the Undertown and the 13th Annual Port Townsend Film Festival. Wendy Borman, and your film is?
The Eyes of Thailand.
And tell us a little bit about that film.
Yeah. So The Eyes of Thailand is a feature-length documentary, and it follows one woman's quest to help two elephant landmine survivors walk again. And in the process, she ends up creating the world's first and largest elephant prostheses.
Now, you said you had a Port Townsend connection?
Yeah, so in 2007, I had the opportunity to travel with a theater company that was primarily based in Port Townsend, because they were doing a fundraising performance in Thailand for this elephant hospital. So I'm tagging along as the videographer, thinking, this is a bank account project, but we'll see where it goes, right? And I wandered in with them, and I had no idea that we had an endangered species stepping on landmines. And I like to think I'm a pretty aware person, and I mean, when you see a 2-year-old three-legged elephant wobbling around and it's because she stepped on a landmine that a human being put in the ground, I mean, it just hit me in a place, and I said, okay, this is my next project. And the founder of the hospital said, we saved their lives, but I'm going to help them walk again. And I said, if you do it, I'll come back.
Wow.
And here we are.
Big project. Tell me, what was the duration of time from first shoot?
Yeah, the first shoot was in the fall of 2007, so here we are, September 2012, so 5 years now. But
Wow.
They say for a documentary the average is 5 to 7 years, so I'm just sort of squeaking under. But we had our world premiere in April 2012, so it was 4.5 years between the first shoot and the final delivery to a film festival.
Talk a little bit about the subject, the woman behind the center for the elephants.
Sarita is one of the most inspirational people I've ever met. And that's part of the joy of being a documentary filmmaker.
Sure.
You just meet these real people on the ground who are doing amazing things, and we have the eye for the story or the ear for the story, and we go, this can turn into something. I want to see where this goes. But I've honestly gotten to know her really well because I filmed at her hospital 3 times. And I was one of the camera operators, so I had access, to follow her around and really get her perspective. And I like to think that I did her story justice in showing the connection that she does have with these elephants, because, she can speak to them and communicate with them on a completely different level. And you can see how much they love her, and she, in her own life, has had a lot of medical issues and debilitating illnesses, and so she knows what it's like to suffer, and she walks with 2 canes now. It's progressively gotten worse as I've known her, and there's just something really beautiful when somebody can climb out of their own suffering to help another being. And she had this amazing experience when she was 8 years old. She saw an elephant that was hit by a car lying on the side of the road. And, she asked her father, what happened? And he said, well, it was hit by a truck. And so they drive on, and then she hears a gunshot. And she asked her dad what happened, and he said, well, don't worry, he's in heaven now. And her response was, well, if he was hurt, why couldn't he go to a hospital? Flash forward, she opens the world's first elephant hospital in 1993.
Yeah, it's a very emotional film. I found myself
Getting
holding
a
back the
little
tears.
overclipped? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. In a very good way, in a very touching way. Was there a language barrier at all at first to overcome? Or tell me
No.
about any of the obstacles you had to overcome. First off, how large was your crew?
This was the crew.
Really? Really?
Yes. I was pretty much a one-person band just out of financial, reality. The story happened before the financing was there. So we are completely independently financed. So through donations, grants,
So
some
it'd be
equity
you,
investments.
and you were talking about a partner.
Yeah, I have a
producing partner.
I have a producing partner, Tim Vandestieg, and so he came on in 2010 once I really understood the scale of the project. I knew I couldn't just do it all by myself, and so I was over there wearing the producing, directing, camera operating hat. I did hire a local camera guy for 2 days when the elephants were getting their legs built, just because I'm like, I cannot be in two places at once, and there's going to be a lot happening. So it's sort of fun to play like Where's Waldo, like Where's Wendy, because you will see me in the background holding a camera in a couple shots. But I came back with all this footage, and I was too close to it at that point. I didn't want to edit it. I didn't want to write it by myself. You know, I knew the story. I wanted it there to be this traditional narrative quest story structure. Right. But we had to integrate these two things. We had to integrate the elephant issues, you know, and why there's an elephant hospital. And then we had to integrate the, well, why are there landmines in the ground?
Right.
And weave
Excellent.
these two together. So I had a writer come on board. His name's Tim O'Brien, and he was really great in going, okay, here's, from all the transcripts, these quotes. And then we were able to give the paper edit to my editor, who went, okay, and these shots. And at that point, it became pretty clear that we were missing some things. You know, you didn't have the perfect soundbite from people, so we really wrestled with it, and we finally decided that, yeah, we do need a narrator. And then it's the, who do we want to be the narrator? So Tim Vandesteeg and I made a very short list of actresses that we wanted to approach, and I'd always heard a female voice. And I wanted somebody who was intelligent and a proven track record for animal compassion, and, you know, that shrinks the list even more in Hollywood.
Sure.
And Ashley Judd was at the top of that list.
Yeah.
And so we figured out who we needed to talk to, and I really credit Tim for putting in, you know, the man hours to work the phones and talk to her. And I got the good news in February, and we dropped the sound in on the very last day that we could in Skywalker before we had to run the tape and get it ready for our film festival premiere.
Excellent. Well, congratulations on that, because I
Thank
thought
you.
it really did add, because it was a pretty serious and very bold subject.
Yeah.
Interested, what did you shoot it on?
I actually had a Canon HV20, so
Okay.
teeny tiny little, you know,
Really?
HD cam tape camera, and so the microphone is actually larger than the camera at that point when I put a shotgun on it. And I had two little wireless lav mics, and it was a really, you know, guerrilla style run and gun verite
Sure.
story. And so is it going to work, you know, when we had that sort of urgency anyway. And then we did some traditional sit-down interviews to fill in the sound bites and the gaps. But I think the other element that came in was just the animations that we used, because that just lifted everything up. So we could tell the stories about how these elephants stepped on landmines without having to reenact them, you know, because that would just be too much. For me, I wouldn't want to subject it to anyone else. And then we had to fill in some of the science of, like, okay, how do you make an elephant prosthetic? You know, why do they need one? And so these storytelling elements really helped us fill in the gaps. So by the end, I think all the audience is like, will this work? I really want this to work.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
been 10 years. Can she walk on it?
Do you know how much video you shot to get and
All
how
of
long is
it?
the
I
film?
mean, I
What's
have-
the running time of the film?
It's actually short for a documentary, so we're 63 minutes.
Okay.
It was longer. We had a 75-minute cut, but we had these two sections that no matter where we put them, it just wasn't flowing. So as an exercise, we pulled them out and we're like, you know, let's see where we can drop them in. And at the end, I looked at my editor and I was like, I don't miss it. And he's like, I don't either. So we're like, 63 minutes, okay. But it makes us shorter to TV time. So hopefully when we get our TV distribution deal, you know, we won't have to edit so much out.
So, so about how much?
How many hours?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
always fun to.
We
to
had
hear
about
that.
100 hours.
Wow.
I mean,
go through all that.
and luckily I had interns, bless them, who would sit down and transcribe everything for us.
Really? What did you edit it on?
We did Final Cut.
Final Cut?
Yeah.
Tell me about that experience, because a lot of young filmmakers are listening to this, so they.
Well, I actually did not edit it. I hired somebody,
Okay.
Gary Schillinger, and actually, what's funny is he edited the first trailer for the film.
Okay.
And then he's since moved, you know, and we were in touch via LinkedIn and Facebook, and we'd had one editor, and then he got us to the rough cut phase and then stepped back. And I was, you know, we're so close, you know, filmmaker crisis, what am I going to do to finish? And so I put the word out And I was like, Gary, I don't even know where you are anymore. Like, are you in the U.S.? Like, are you available? Are you even interested? And he was like, actually, I'm available, and I would love to help you finish it. So he's based in San Diego. We got him the hard drives, and so we edited remotely. I mean, we
Really?
would
Wow.
Skype on his laptop, and he would flip his laptop around so I could look at the Final Cut timeline on his desktop.
Unbelievable.
You know, and we would Skype for like 2 hours, and, you know, that way I could actually look at things and go like, no, this here, and the music up now, and, you know, all that massaging that you have to do between a rough cut and a final cut.
Right, all the new technology has just allowed
Us
you
to do it.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
where you couldn't have just even just a few
Yeah.
years ago.
Our composers in Minnesota, I mean,
Oh, really?
our
What's his name?
Steve Horner, so
Horner.
Horner Music.
Okay.
And he had worked with my producing partner Tim before on Tim's previous feature-length documentary. So they had that connection. And when I was looking for a composer, Tim was like, "How about Steve?"
Yeah.
And we were able to have a great level of conversations too. And Gary is a musician in his own right, so he could think of things very musically. So, you know, you just get the right team, and at this point, it doesn't matter if you live in the same city or not, because
Right.
you could tell a story and use the technology to get you there.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Was it hard not to get emotionally involved?
Oh,
Because, I
yeah.
mean, can you talk just a little bit about that?
Well, I think most filmmakers are neurotic, myself included. You know, it's like, it's all about me, you know. So we had the issue where 2 new elephants stepped on landmines in 2010. And here I thought I had the ending of the film in 2009. And I had a couple really dark days and had to put the word out to friends and, you know, cry it out because I felt responsible. Like, my film wasn't done. I didn't finish it fast enough. Like, it's my fault the elephant stepped on landmines. And I need to just get a reality check, being like, Wendy, you didn't put the landmines there, even if the film was out, you know. And but
So you did get emotionally
oh yeah, and I
involved
love
in-
these elephants, you know, and I love Sarita, and I've learned a lot from them, and that's what really keeps you going back to it, you know, because if you're going to develop or dedicate 10 years of your life to something, 5 years of your life to something, it's like, if you don't love it,
Yeah.
don't do it. Somebody
Right,
else will
exactly.
tell the story. And I just knew it was a story I couldn't leave.
So the response to it, what you hoped?
Yeah, you know, it's never really a film, I think, until an audience sees it.
Right.
So I always stand at the back of the theater and watch everybody else react to it. And it's great because there are moments, you know, where people laugh and they cry and they applaud and, you know, they're emoting and getting really connected. And we've been really honored with the fact that we've been in 6 festivals so far and received 8 awards.
What awards?
We got the Humanitarian Award from the Newport Beach Film Festival. That was our world premiere. We just got a Best Documentary Jury Award from Big Bear Lake. Sarita got the Best of Festival, Best Heroine in a Wildlife Film from the International Wildlife Film Festival. And we've gotten Merit Awards for animation and animal advocacy and, you know, a Green Planet Award. And I mean, hopefully Port Townsend loves us, maybe something else. But it's just wonderful to have, you know, the audience reacting
Right.
and then getting the professional juries, you know, and the real film lovers to also applaud your work. That's just been really
Excellent.
heartwarming. So you know it's worth it.
Well, well deserved. It's a beautiful
Oh,
film.
thank you.
Really touching. I'm glad I got to see it.
Thank you.
DVD available? Someplace? DVD?
Sometime soon. So because we've been independently financed and produced, we're looking for the right distribution deal right now.
Okay.
We're hoping to do a rollout in the U.S. and internationally, but we've got a big festival year coming up this year.
Oh, talk about that.
Well, we're having our Canadian premiere in Ottawa in October, and then I fly to London for the UK premiere for the Wild Screen Festival. We're having our Asian premiere this fall and going to be able to then do a fundraising screening at the Elephant Hospital because Sarita hasn't seen it yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
so that, you know, to
Wow.
go
And
back.
she's so much a part of the film. I mean,
No.
it's-
We've invited her, but
Mm-hmm.
due to her health issues, she's not been able to join us yet. So I'm like, I will come to you and we will do a fundraiser
Yeah.
to keep the hospital open. And we've also are looking to go to Geneva in December for the International Campaign to Ban Landmines, because we've been invited to screen the film there for the UN delegates.
Excellent.
So we can
So
actually get
it's
some.
really accomplishing what you wanted then.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really bringing an awareness to something that, just before we go,
Yes.
how have you been enjoying the fest?
Port Townsend is one of the most adorable towns I've ever been in, and I've traveled around a lot. It was just really special to have our Northwest premiere here. You know, there's this homecoming, and there's been key people in the process that I'm like, oh, I hope they love it, because they were there when this started. You know, they were there at the catalytic moment. And so all the people who were on that first trip have come up and told me, like, great job, you did it justice. And so that's been really heartwarming. And of course, all the staff and the volunteers here are just great. I mean, it's good people.
Oh,
Good
excellent.
people in Port Townsend.
All right, thanks so much, Wendy.
Thank you for having me.
You bet, I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. You bet.